The current escalation in violence against Palestinians and Lebanese is unprecedented in its barbarity. Live streamed by both the victims and perpetrators, it is undeniable. This is the moral litmus test of our generation. Fail it, and history will remember you as complicit.
Since the war on Gaza, activists worldwide renewed calls for boycotts and sanctions against Israel, arguing that this non-violent approach played a major role in ending apartheid in South Africa.
Until recently, many people did not properly heed or probably were even really aware of the boycott campaigns, whether because they didn't grasp their importance or because they simply didn't realize how dire the situation was. But now that's changed. While the list of complicit companies is disturbingly long, McDonald's has long been known as a primary target of boycott, divestment and sanctions, or BDS, as a supporter of the Israeli occupation forces. The most obvious recent example being McDonald's supplying tens of thousands of free meals to Israeli soldiers from late 2023. That's why when it emerged that Stormzy, one of the biggest rappers in the UK, had secured a McDonald's collaboration deal worth over £4 million, people were up in arms. The Stormzy meal was plastered everywhere. In response, Jeremy Corbyn's Peace and Justice Project penned an open letter to the rapper, stating that Stormzy's decision to work with McDonald's allows the corporation to culture wash their reputation as caterers of genocide in Gaza. You may ask, is the backlash a bit unreasonable? No. BDS is an international movement made up of Palestinian and international activists, academics, and artists pushing for an economic and cultural blockade of Israel and its allies, particularly companies tied to military or settler colonial activities. There are countless complicit brands as listed on multiple online resources. But BDS's strategy focuses on a select few major sponsors with the aim of concentrating their boycotting efforts on a few companies for maximum impact. McDonald's is one of these companies. In fact, McDonald's is actually probably the most obvious boycott, usually your first. And it has worked. McDonald's announced a massive loss of $7 billion in value. McDonald's and even Starbucks, among others, have blamed boycotts for causing them to miss out big on earning expectations, and not just among Muslim-majority countries. The point is, this dent in their profits is undoubtedly a victory, and it's proof that the seemingly small decisions made by lots of individuals to not spend their money with these companies has collectively made a genuine, meaningful impact. And you can attribute this notably to the boycotting efforts of young people in the form of youth organizations and student-led movements, who are by far the most visibly involved in the anti-genocide and anti-Zionist movements in the Western world. So let's say you're McDonald's PR or marketing team. How do you win back sales from this demographic? Well, what better way to launder your image than recruiting the services of an artist who's built his brand as a socially and politically conscious rapper, unafraid to speak truth to power.
That yo, Theresa May, where's that money for Grenfell? What you thought we just forgot about Grenfell, you criminals, and you got the truth to call us savages.
Now, it's not just the deal. Around the same time the deal was announced, Stormzy mysteriously deleted social media posts mentioning his support for Palestine. He later claimed they had simply been archived. Clearly, there'd been a conversation regarding some of his more problematic activism, and it was duly taken into consideration. Anyway, this was his first major response to the backlash. So, Stormzy claims that he researches the brands he works with and insists this deal didn't compromise his values. Really? So, after his research, he unilaterally decided that, what, BDS got it wrong? In his actions and his non-apology, he's implied that not only should you not boycott McDonald's, you should be actively undermining the boycott and cash in if you've got the chance. And if that wasn't bad enough, the man doubled down in a recently released track, Sorry Rach.
Oh, don't let me F up the... I heard they wanna hang me out to dry for a nugget meal.
Think about this. If regular individuals have put these corporations on notice, what kind of impact does a man with a platform and influence like Stormzy's have? Artists like Macklemore, Kneecap, Kalani have, lost out on money, have had venues cancel them and the media smear them, but they have a clear conscience and their own fans actually love them more for it. All Stormzy had to do was not sign a deal with one of the most Zionist brands known to the general public. He could have put his hands up and apologized. Instead, he's gaslighting you and reducing the entire debacle to people being upset about a nugget meal. His ignorance is actually comparable to the similar boycott movement against apartheid South Africa during the 80s. Aside from boycotting companies doing business with the apartheid state, this campaign included a cultural boycott pleading that musicians should not perform there, and in particular the notorious Sun City Resort, owned by wealthy Afrikaner hotel magnate Sol Kerzner, who had links to both apartheid regimes in South Africa and in Israel. This was actively flouted by many of your favourite artists including Cher, Millie Jackson, Liza Minnelli, Elton John, and Queen, who performed there in October 1984 in defiance of the cultural boycott.
The musicians' union certainly got very cross with them. The ANC were pretty sort of disgusted.
People on streets.
They defended themselves at the time, claiming they played for all who would listen and were a very non-political group. No such thing. They made a political decision by defying the boycott whether they like it or not, and this cop-out of an excuse didn't justify their actions. There is no opt-out option when it comes to morality. But to be fair, in hindsight, Queen drummer Roger Taylor expressed remorse for the concerts, but in hindsight, it's easy, isn't it? Anyway, he is clearly aware of the oppression of Palestinians and he's expressed his solidarity before. That's why I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's actually his disgraceful response to the backlash which has exposed his moral flexibility. But the king has spoken. Disregard your petty moral quandaries. BDS be damned. He has decreed it acceptable for you to revert back to your pre-generated cognitive dissonance and grab yourself a Mackey's. A big thank you to my Patreon supporter, and if you enjoyed this short video, please subscribe. And while you're here, why not explore one of the most pervasive forms of racism in Britain, or maybe about Ben and Jerry's beef with Israel?